All right, what's going on, world? It's obviously saying I'm live. Can't tell how many people are on here, but I'm gonna get started because you can go back and review it. So first of all, I want to make sure that I address some of these things. This topic of Philando Castile's case have been really bothering me. It's been really burdensome on my heart, and I feel like I need to continue to push out accurate information on both sides. For those of you who are just now watching my video, I have information and logical conclusions to draw based on my own experience being on both sides of the spectrum. Okay, I'm a police officer in real life. I'm a black man in real life. I mean, you can't get any more realistic, I guess, than that. Okay, so the bottom line here is that I went yesterday, I did some research on the Philando Castile's verdict summary. And I'll attach the link in the comment section, or maybe I'll do it in the description section, to link to the actual website that I read. Very impartial, literally just kind of summaries of witnesses and expert testimony in the actual court proceeding, which I think is absolutely invaluable for people to know and to learn and to read in order to make a genuine evaluation about what happened in the Philando Castile case. But by the way, I want to break this down into two parts. Maybe, matter of fact, three parts. What the officer did and should and shouldn't have done, what Philando Castile should and shouldn't have done, and then kind of my take on personal experience and what I think should have been the outcome of this incident and the verdict. So we'll start with the police officer. I honestly believe, beyond a doubt, that Yanez overreacted. I can't say it any other way. Listening to his composure and listening to his lack of composure, even getting on the radio asking for backup, saying shots fired. I mean, he's literally screaming and literally like he's crying and having a meltdown. I can't excuse that. White, black, green, or orange. It's inexcusable for an officer to be exposed to that and not be able to compose himself. I think that tactics played a huge role in contributing to the death of Philando Castile. I do not believe that it was totally the officer's fault 100%, and I don't think it was Castile's fault 100%. I think that there was a dual issue here. I think that the officer, definitely his composure was poor. I think that he should have been able to identify that this person is being calm. I pulled him over for a light out. The person is handing over information. He's got a girl and a young kid in the car. I mean, he's telling me he has a firearm. Like, these are reasonable perceptions that should lead an officer to believe that this is not finna jump off life and death. And for you to know that he has a gun gives you a little bit of an advantage, because now you know what you're working with. It's not like you didn't know he had a gun and then now he reaching and you see a gun come out and you're like, oh shoot, this guy didn't disclose I had a gun. You know, this could go south, whatever the case may be. So I think that he should have been privy to that. And by his lack of his ability to do that, I think it caused him to overreact and then led to the death of Philando Castile, contributed to the death. I think Philando Castile had an issue too, because Philando Castile had a gun in his pocket. Any concealed carry permit holders that have any kind of reasonable maturity and common sense understands that it's not a legitimate practice to carry a firearm loosely in your pocket. It needs to be secured in a holster. I mean, even if it's a holster, it still shouldn't be loose floating around in your pocket. It needs to be secured to your pants or to some other object that's fixed, so that if something happens, you get into a car accident, your gun don't go flying somewhere. So, so that's what I think he did wrong. I think that Philando shouldn't have had the gun in his pocket, and he should have been following directions a lot more closely, understanding that, dude, this is a tense situation when you interject a gun into any kind of interaction with police officers. And I think that he should have had his hands on the steering wheel. He should have made it clear that, look, I have the gun, it's in my pocket, before he started reaching in the direction of the gun, reaching for his wallet, which was either in the same pocket or in a pocket close to the pocket where the gun is in. And I think what happened is he went to reach for his wallet or whatever the case may be, and the butt of the gun came out, or even he grabbed onto his wallet and he kind of saw the bulge of the gun in his pocket, and then the officer flipped out and started shooting him. Either way it go, I think Philando Castile, and one thing that we can learn is that that's not a proper way to carry a firearm. It's not, obviously, that it can lead to something really bad. Another thing is a lot of people going around saying that Philando Castile was a legal CCW carrier, or whatever you call it, concealed permit carrier, and actually he wasn't. And this is why. When you look at the testimony, and this was brought up in the court hearing, and this is why people need to know what happens in court and not just make a prejudgment trying to race bait. You know, the court, there was somebody testified the toxicology results of his toxicology results, and they testified that he had marijuana in his system. Now, post-mortem toxicology cannot, at this point, scholars say that it cannot determine exactly when he had last used the marijuana. So they can't determine unequivocally that he used the marijuana 3 seconds before his death or whatever the case may be. But it was in his system. Now, they brought up the CCW or the concealed carry permit person who issues the permit, who does the classes and the training or whatever the case may be. They brought him up to testify, and he testified that it is illegal to falsify on the concealed carry form. You cannot have had or have used illegal substances and get a CCW. If you have and you write on the form that you haven't, because you're going to have to write that you haven't in order to get the form. If you falsify the information, obviously you don't qualify to get a concealed carry permit. Also, he testified that he had the marijuana in his system. It is against the permit license that you cannot be under the influence of an illegal drug while carrying concealed. So there's two reasons there. He shouldn't have technically been awarded a concealed carry permit because he lied about using illegal drugs, which was marijuana. He also shouldn't have been riding around with a concealed carried weapon under the influence of illegal drugs. So that's two areas where he was wrong in, and had a contributing factor to the character and the idea of kind of what state of mind he was in. And then I think it brought out that he wasn't just this innocent guy just at the cafeteria, man. He was literally making terrible mistakes that would lead him to go to jail. Also in the car, they found an 8-ounce jar of marijuana, which, if he hadn't gotten shot, he would have been arrested for possession of marijuana, the violation of the concealed carry permit, and then if they did any research, which I don't know if unless they can get a warrant for this, which I don't understand why they would get a warrant unless he was in some serious traffic accident. They would get a warrant and then find out that he falsified information on the concealed carry permit application. So those are some things that I think that we need to clarify as facts. My summary of it all is that based on, and people don't never, you can ask a person right now, do you know what they charged the officer with? Okay, they don't even know. Okay, they charged him with second-degree manslaughter. Do you know what the culpable mental state is? And do you know what the burden is that they have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt? Those are things that you need to know. Therefore, you know whether or not this was a bad verdict or it was the appropriate verdict. Based on what I read, he couldn't get charged with this crime because he could articulate with a level of forensic proof that Philando Castile went to reach for the firearm because he reached either in the same direction or in the same pocket that the gun was in. So that is such an ambiguous state that they cannot unequivocally say that he had no reason to believe that Philando Castile was going to pull out a firearm. So it's almost impossible to charge him with second-degree manslaughter. So I believe that the verdict, although unfortunate, was the appropriate verdict. Also, I'm a police officer, and I have been in situations similar to that in plenty of circumstances. I wouldn't, and I'm speaking from hindsight. I'm speaking from sitting on the couch. I wasn't there. But based on the information I had, the dash cam, the temperament, and all this other stuff put together, I wouldn't have shot him. I don't believe that I can't say I wouldn't have. I don't believe that I would have shot him. I believe that the situation would have went very differently if I was an officer there at the scene. I don't think I would have perceived him as an immediate threat in that way, because I mean, he was being calm. He was disclosing his information. He told him he had a firearm. I mean, there's plenty of different things that you could have done to avoid the situation, and I think that I wouldn't have done that. So, with that being said, I think that Yanez should never be a police officer again. I think that maybe he shouldn't have been a police officer at the time that this situation happened, because he showed evidence of a lack of extreme composure. Like, he lacked composure to the utmost degree. I think that it was terrible. That it resulted in people die when you don't have proper composure in situations that are tense. You are supposed to be the one in charge. You're supposed to be the one with the level head, while everybody else is flipping out. In addition to that, I think that he should get fired, which he did. He probably will never be a police officer again. One reason is because he probably don't have the composure, and another one, he's probably gonna have PTSD from this traumatic experience that he's never gonna overcome, ever. He probably will never be able to pull another traffic stop again, which will probably eliminate him as being an officer ever again. I think it's the appropriate measure. This had nothing to do with race and everything to do with tactics and miscommunication. Period. Yanez would have shot my grandma. You know, he was too amped up. He was too like something. I don't know if he had been watching too much TV. I don't know if he had been shot at in the past. I don't know what happened, but he just lost his composure too hard. So enough of that. I'm gonna try to see if I thought somebody asked me a question. I want to see if I can answer your question. What's up, Will? Appreciate it. I don't have any cats. Anyway, Ricky, when carrying a gun in a car and get stopped by the cops, here's what you should do. Put your trigger hand on the steering. Okay, ain't that complying? No. I mean, I think what I would say if I can give any advice, if you know you got a gun, the cop don't know you have the gun. You know you're not a criminal. The cop don't know you're not a criminal. You know you're not the suspect in a robbery. The cop don't know that. So what you should do is put your hand on the steering wheel and let him you tell him right away, officer, I just want you to know I have a gun. I am a concealed carry owner. My gun is in my pocket. Okay, it's in my pocket. What would you like for me to do, officer? The officer may say, oh, don't move. Okay, I'm not moving. My hand's on the steering wheel. I'm not moving. I want you to get out the car, put your hands on your head. You comply, you do whatever you got to do. If it's a problem with the tactics later on, if there's a problem with some Fourth Amendment stuff, then you can bring it up in court, but you'll be alive to bring it up in court. So I believe that that's what you should do. You should always have your hands on the steering wheel when you interact with police. The only time you should move your hand off the steering wheel is to roll the window down. And you should have it on the steering wheel until the officer tell you what you shouldn't do. I honestly will wait to get my registration and all that stuff until the officer actually comes to the car and asks me for it. I wouldn't just be going in the glove box and all this other stuff, because if you get an officer like Yanez, you may get shot. I mean, not really, because technically there was a gun involved in this one. I mean, I don't think Yanez would have shot somebody in the back of the head because they went in the glove box. But he could have definitely got amped up, tased you, beat you, or you never know what could happen in an officer that lack composure in situations like that. So I'll put my hand on the steering wheel and just wait until the officer tell me what to do, and then I go about doing it that way. I kind of agree. Mega Man, I agree, man. You know, some people don't care what I have to say, but you know what? If one person can learn something for what I'm saying, then I've accomplished something. Kale, what's up? Let's see. I haven't heard about his girl. I don't know what she done. I remember she started a GoFundMe page and she was balling out of control. The family had probably raised almost $1 million on the death of that kid. And that's shameful, because I felt like she should have been doing more for her daughter and attempting to render aid and cooperate with the police instead of making a Facebook video. I mean, obviously, maybe some people think it's right she made the video because it got the outrage that it deserved. But at the end of the day, there was no convictions, and he's dead, and all happened is the officer got fired. This didn't help anything. because she didn't get on there and tell the complete truth. She got on there lying. She didn't say, yeah, we were smoking weed in the car, and like, I know he was scared because we had weed in the back seat, and my daughter was getting exposed to secondhand smoke, and we got pulled over and he had the gun in his pocket. I told him not to put the gun in his pocket. She ain't gonna say all that. She's just gonna say what she wanna hear to get sensation. She wanted Facebook fame. Honestly, there's no way you could shoot somebody I love and I'm on Facebook making a video. I wouldn't even be able to function probably. I wouldn't be able to just sit there, man. I'll be probably trying to save their life. Think about it is, let me see, Aquarian Christianity. The thing about it is that it's not about that. It's not like, put your hands on the steering wheel. Now get your license. It's like a race. Oh, get your license. Oh, you don't have to do that. You put your hands on the steering wheel. It's not that important to get your license at that point. If the officer say, get your license, then you can say, okay, officer, my gun is in my right pocket. My license is in my back pocket on the right side. Like, would you like for me to get my license because I have a gun here? I mean, there's not going to be a conflict if you don't grab your license right away. That has never happened in the history of anything that I've ever seen. When I pull people over, I mean, they may want to have a discussion. Well, I don't know why you pulled me over. Okay, let's have a discussion. This is exactly why I pulled you over. Now that I've informed you, you need to provide your information. We're not going to sit here and debate this. We can debate this in court, but now I have provided you with an explanation exactly why I pulled you over. You need to start cooperating. And if the person don't grab their identifier right away, it's not like I'm going to pull my gun out and shoot them. So it's not that big of a deal. It's better to obey the gun-related situation than to try to obey, getting your driver's license. I appreciate it, Ricky. I agree. I'm starting to agree to that. I think they need more people like me. I think it was handled poorly on both sides. I think that I hold the officer more accountable, though. He should. I mean, God dang, dude. I mean, he was so amped up. I couldn't believe it that he was that bad. No, I agree with you, Kel. You tell an officer, well, first of all, time out real quick. Let's talk about this for a quick second. Everybody's talking about police shootings around the country. I don't know if Philando Castile subscribed to the Black Lives Matter movement, but a lot of African-American people subscribe to that movement. And they believe that cops are out there trying to kill you. With that being said, if you really feel that way, why in the heck would you be doing anything but holding your hands on the steering wheel if you get pulled over by a cop and you know you got a gun in your pocket? It's not in the holster. It's not in the glove box. It's in your pocket. Why would you be doing anything but putting your hands on the steering wheel when you already know and you believe that officers are prone to shoot you for no reason? It just baffles me that, like, what was he thinking that he felt like he needed to continue to move towards his pocket when the officer was telling him, dude, don't move, don't grab it, don't grab it. I mean, God dang, dude, your hand should have been like this. Fuck, I ain't grabbing nothing. I'm here. If I get pulled over and the officer say, I see a gun, put your hands up. Shit, my hand's like this. I'm praising God. My hand's gonna be like this. I'm gonna say, sir, I don't even wanna move. I ain't move my hand. You get my license. I will get out the car like this. I want you to get my license, sir. I ain't moving nowhere. Take my gun and my license. Anyway, on a tangent. Let's see. Can see I've been handling it differently. It would have explained he would have froze, not moved. Let's see, man, exactly. She was calm making a video. She was too calm making that video. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm like, did she really love this dude, or like, was she really like thinking about fame more than she was thinking about his life? Like, I wouldn't even want to put somebody I love on their face on the camera as they're dying, man, out of respect for somebody I love. Like, I don't want them on Facebook dying. I don't want nobody to see my loved one go out like that. And for somebody, I mean, she clearly is like tripping. For somebody to really be that calm in a violent situation like that, it's just, I just don't understand. Like, I kind of feel like she probably didn't really love him the whole time. She's just a gold digger. She hanging with him because he got the weed. And he probably buying groceries. And you know what I'm saying? And she probably super hood rat. I can't say that for a fact, but that's just the type of person she seemed like. And you know how I know that? Because I grew up in the hood. I know what hood rats are like. You know, and she seemed like a hood rat. The way she was acting, the way she carried herself, the way she was talking to her kid, the way she smoked weed in front of her kids, like, it's just that straight hood rat. Yeah, man, I never understand the feeling that you get of videotaping somebody that's dying right in front of you that you love. I couldn't even imagine. Like, I probably couldn't even talk. I would be dying inside watching him die and nobody touching him. Nobody's trying to do chest compressions. Nobody's trying to pack his wounds. I would be dying. Like, I couldn't even pick my phone up. That girl had that Facebook Live. She probably already had it going when they got stopped. But she had that Facebook Live up faster than I can post a live video. I ain't never did a video that quick. Yeah. Charizard or whatever. I think that's how you say it. Charizard or whatever. No, you're right. She was smoking weed in a car, kid choking. She calling another kid the N-word. I mean, she's just terrible, man. People that live lifestyles like that, they lead down a road of bad decisions, which then lead them down to negative stuff happening to them. I'm not saying that this was a direct correlation to her bad behavior, but it kind of led in that direction. Do you have to declare your gun for a traffic stop? Now, in Milwaukee, I'm trying to think. In that state, so I'm assuming, okay. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So in Wisconsin, you don't have to tell an officer that you have a firearm. It's not law. It's not in the law that you have to disclose to an officer that you have a firearm. Now, you can't lie to an officer whether or not you have a firearm. That's the thing that I think becomes a complicated problem. I don't think it'd be appropriate for you to lie to an officer. So if they ask you, you tell them. You don't have to voluntarily disclose that. Now, I think in the law, maybe you don't have to tell them if you had one in the law. Now, every state is different. In Texas, in conservative states, uber conservative states, I guarantee you got to tell an officer that you have a firearm. If you don't, you're going to jail. It should be a law everywhere that you have to tell an officer you conceal carry if they're engaging in a lawful interaction with you. If they're just consensual and you're just walking up to them and you don't have to tell them you got a gun. I mean, you guys not involved you're involved in a consensual contact. If there's some type of detentionary contact, like if you're contacting on a traffic stop, which means you're not free to leave, you need to disclose that. If you're a suspect in a crime and an officer is trying to investigate a crime, you need to disclose that you have a firearm. I think that should be law. That should be federal law. I mean, that should be any kind of firearm carrier should have to declare that. But again, you need to go to your own state, look in your own state law and figure out if your state has that clause in there that you need to disclose that. Some people are saying, well, you don't have to tell the officer nothing. Do not believe them. Look at your state law. You will go to jail if you think you some self-righteous person. You're not going to tell the police. Regardless if it's the law, tell the police you have a gun because you would rather tell them than for you to be some Fourth Amendment guru and you get killed and you dead and the officer goes to jail, but you still dead. For what? Because you want to be self-righteous? I don't know. I would never do that. Anyway. Let's see, verdict. I'm trying to catch y'all stuff. Let's see if y'all ask some questions. Pull over. Can you get a warrant? Because I never get one. If you pull me over, Brandon, can I get a warning? Oh, you know what? I'm gonna tell you this. I keep my citation warning things very, very concise, basic, and consistent. As long as it's not an egregious traffic situation, like if you run a light and you T-bone somebody, you getting a ticket. I mean, I don't know what it's to tell you. I mean, I think it's even written in our thing that you have to be cited. You just destroy somebody else's car and put people's lives in danger. You're gonna get a citation. Now, the rule of thumb that I normally use is that if I pull a person over and they reasonably, and it's like, it just seemed like something that was an accident. They reasonably understand that they were at fault, and they have all the other stuff, the driver's license, proof of insurance, everything is legit. And more than likely, I'm just gonna get a personal warning because I don't want you to go to court. The only reason, the main reason I stopped you is not to give you a ticket and have you go pay money. It's to inform you so you don't do it in the future and end up dying. Because which one is more important, your life or a ticket? I don't really care much about a ticket. I care about your life. So I know times are rough, man. You $300 for a ticket and you're like, it was an accident. We all have accidents. There's been times where I ran a stop sign accident before. I mean, there's been times where I barely made the light. There's been times where I went over the speed limit. I mean, people do things. It's not giving any excuse, but it's like, if you want to walk around acting like that nobody ever commits crimes and that this person's the criminal of the century, you can do that. By law, if they break the law, you can give them a citation. But just my whole thing is that, and if a person argue with me, it's clear that that person don't understand the law and that they need a little more critique. They need a little more understanding. So they need to get a ticket. So they can go research the law, and then they can go to court and they can find out why exactly I gave them that ticket, since they don't understand. And a lot of things that make officers upset is that when they pull you over for real reasons and you sit there and question them for 30 minutes, I mean, you're just writing yourself a ticket because you clearly don't understand. If I told you ran a stop sign and you arguing with me that you ran a stop sign, clearly you don't understand your fault. I'm not making this up. I saw you run a stop sign. If me telling you ran it isn't enough clarification for you to correct your behavior, then maybe a ticket going to court will correct your behavior. And if that don't, you'll run another stop sign and get another ticket. I mean, that's kind of how it works. Anyway. Maybe I'll try to look at it again. But I'm saying, Kel, people in the hood ain't gonna want to just keep it real. That girl was like super hood rat. She's sitting there acting crazy, smoking weed, smoking Newports. I mean, that's in the hood. You call those hood rats. It's not derogatory. It's just using the hood lingo. Now, the president of the United States can't call people hood rats. I mean, that's not the way you should describe it. But at the same time, if you're going to use the lingo in the hood, you call people like that ratchet or hood rats. She's ratchet. I'm just using the words that Lil Boosie used. She ratchet. You know, that's like, that's ratchet stuff. And in the rap music, they celebrate it as ratchet. It's something cool to be ratchet, but that's ratchet stuff. She riding around smoking dope and the kid choking in the background, and she thugged out. You know what I'm saying? They at the park. We at so and so park. You know, we just smoking and the kid back there coughing. It's just like, that's not. But they don't want to call it out because I don't know. Yeah, let's see. You have to tell the officer first thing if you are carrying along with producing your mind. Yeah, in Michigan, I'm thinking MI Michigan. Yeah, that's true. Some of these states, man, they ain't playing with you. You can go to jail for not disclosing. Native American and black, yeah, have never been pulled over or racially profiled. I feel left out. Ha ha ha. Shy, I agree. The funny thing is, I've been black for 30 years, all right? I've been driving. I can't do the math. I've been driving since whenever. But I don't ever think I actually been racially profiled or like treated unfairly, ever. I perceived I was because I was drinking the Kool-Aid and thinking that every white officer that pulled me over is pulling me over because they racist. I used to think that way. So that's why I know that it's BS now that I see it. But I don't think an officer has ever treated me wrong and I can actually say it's because I'm black. I had one officer that literally made me want to strangle him. He was so rude to me, and it was before I became a police officer. And he works for my agency. I just haven't ran into him. But he was a jerk, man. He was a freaking jerk. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I hope something bad happened to him because he's such a jerk. And I'm like, he's taking advantage of my kindness. But I can't say he did that because I was black. I mean, what evidence do I have? Just because he's white? Nah, the dude's probably a jerk. He's probably like that to everybody. Probably an idiot. You know, he's an idiot. Anyway, all right, I'm going to catch a couple more questions and I'm going to bounce. I've been pulled over, but usually let go. Burgess, L. Burgess. I agree. I mean, I've been pulled over, and like the times I've been pulled over, and I was like, oh, the officers are racist. They actually never gave me a ticket for that. I didn't even get a ticket. Like, and then I took that as, see, he didn't have nothing. And now I'm a cop and I know the law. I'm like, dang, that was against the law. Like, technically, I cannot play my music that loud because that was against the law. And the dude was nice to me. He gave me a warning. Like, he could have gave me a ticket. If he was really racist, he would have gave my butt a ticket. Anyway, let's see. I only have one speeding ticket. I've been arrested once. Yeah, I mean, I'm no. And see, you and I may be different races. I don't know if that's an accurate picture of you, Christianity, but dude, I've been arrested once for some BS. That same officer that I'm telling y'all about, I got arrested for expired registration in a foreign state, which you can, even in the statute, you can tell that's BS. It got dropped. But I got arrested for that, and I got citations before. I mean, I got like 5 tickets one time when I was, I think I was in high school. Me and my brother on the freeway, swerving like this, trying to be kind of cool. And they caught us, gave us like 5 tickets. You know what I'm saying? Like, I deserve that. Man, I don't rarely ever, I don't think I've ever experienced racism in my life. Like, I had people say racist things to me, but I don't necessarily feel like I've ever been racially oppressed. Like, I didn't get an opportunity because I was black, or I didn't get a job because I was black, or I didn't get a promotion because I was black, or I can't go to this restaurant because I'm black, or they gave me bad service because I was black. Like, I don't think I've ever in the 30 years of my life ever experienced anything like that. Have I had people call me racial slurs? Yes, I had people call me the N-word to my face. And they probably meant it. But it's just a word. Like, they can't do nothing to me. Like, I don't know where people think racism stem from. Like, I think racism means when a person utilizes your race to oppress you. Like, when they do something against you solely for your race and it has an effect on you. I don't consider racism somebody calling me the N-word. Like, what does that do to me? It make me cry or something? No, like, what did you just say to me? It means nothing. You just said a word. It's like calling me ugly. Like, oh, boo-hoo, you call me ugly. I'm not ugly, so I don't know what to tell you. Man, some people may think I'm ugly. But generally, I don't think I'm ugly. So what you said to me didn't mean nothing. You know, I could be ugly, but it don't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, now if you won't hire me because I'm ugly, I don't know if that's a bad thing. I mean, you'll have the ability to do that if you like. So let's see. I've been pulled over maybe 30 times in my life. 2 of those 30 times, the cop were racist. Both times I was in white neighborhoods. So you've been pulled over 30 times. 2 of those 30, the cops were racist. Both times was in white neighborhoods. Okay, it's the MCP. It's the MCP. Give me just a quick synopsis of why you thought that situation was racist. That's all I want to know. I'm not saying I don't believe you. I just want to know for the people looking at this that it's interesting. Out of 30, 2 out of 30, only 2 of them was racist, white neighborhoods. Give me some info. I need to hear some info on why you believe those 2 is racist. I'm 22. I've seen racism at work, like looks, but that's all. Straight up racism, not yet. Hope doesn't experience that. I mean, people can't openly be racist anymore. They have to do it behind the scenes. People can't just come out and say, I don't like you because you black. And a lot of times, if they treat you wrong, they can get in trouble. So it's kind of hard to do that. I've never experienced there. I have been called any names except by a 290 registered, and really who cares what a sex offender thinks. Let's see, I've never said, I never say the N-word out of respect for people's wishes. Same with any form of cussing. And same with me, man. I don't really cuss, and I try to stay away from the N-word. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes it may come out in listening to a rap song or something like that, which rarely ever happens. But I don't really use it in public. I don't really use it around people. I try to keep that word far from my mouth as I can. I'm not gonna sit there and lie and say that in a private conversation with myself, it didn't come out at some point. But I do not use it against people. I don't use it around people. And I really, if I hadn't been saying the N word for the last, I don't know, since I was like 27. I mean, no, 23. I have been saying the N word in every word I've ever said since I was 23 years old. And then obviously now, I don't use it anymore, but it's still in there. It's still in my mind. Like I still have to watch myself from like using that around some of my homeboys who some of them still use it. I've heard the N word and wine guy claim black guy stole. Okay, man. I think we got him all handled. Hey, how do I do the open phone call? See, if I can find out how to do the open phone call, I'll do that. I appreciate y'all listening to me. Hey, when I find out how to do that phone call, that'll be pretty cool. If I can do like, hey, you can call in to the Brandon Tatum show or something. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna let y'all in on this and I'm gonna get off here. What I'm gonna start doing is that when I get my office set up, I'm gonna try to make it a little more like structured. Maybe have a phone in there for people to call in and give comments about certain things. And then I have like a good background. I mean, this is like my living room. My dog's over here chewing on stuff. He gonna be licking in the bowl in a minute just to get my attention. So, but I'll try to do that. That sounds like a cool idea. I would love to hear you guys' voices because, now I'm seeing like pictures of diamonds and stuff. I mean, I don't even know if you guys are real people. But that'll be pretty cool for people to call into the show. I might have that eventually when I find out how to do it. Let's see. I'm gonna check on a comment from the young man that I asked to give me the first one. I was waiting in my car for a store to open. I wasn't blasting music or talking loud. A resident called the cops and cars with 4 cops showed up, all with guns on me. I meant to say 2 cars. Now, again, why do you think that's racist? I'm kind of confused. Because you thought it was too much? Thought they did too much? Or you thought they only did that because you were black? I'm kind of confused. So I don't really know, man. To be honest, I can't really say. Like, I just couldn't imagine my department doing something like that. Like, just because somebody's like Native American, we're gonna like up the ante. Like I just can't see that ever happening. It's like, it don't matter what race a person is. I mean, maybe in that department, but I mean, I don't know if I would say that that's racist. Like, it's too much that go. I don't know if you disclose some more information, I'll be able to comment a little more. But just because you're in a white neighborhood, you're sitting in the parking lot waiting for a store to open up, and somebody called on you, cops pull up with guns drawn, I don't necessarily think that automatically goes into the racist realm. You could perceive it that way, but I think that's probably hard to prove, because you never know what the person said to the cops on the phone. Like, let me see. My friend told me before I went there that a racist and called the cops on you if you go into the city. I laughed thinking that way. I mean, listen, man, it could be racist, but it may not be. I have gone to calls, pull people at gunpoint and all this stuff, find out that the complainant lied. Like, it just really depends on the circumstances. I could very well see somebody who's probably racist, maybe not the cops. I'm not sure. You're saying that the residents are racist or the cops? Maybe I need to clarify that one too. But I can see residents being racist and saying like, oh man, or maybe not even racist. Maybe they're afraid of black people, right? Maybe they're afraid of black people. People being afraid of black people, I wouldn't say is necessarily racist. I think it's prejudice. and ignorant. Because if you've never met a black person before and your only image of black people are rap music and you're looking at statistical data of African American incarceration rates, African American, you look at World Star for 30 minutes, you get this negative perception about black people. You look at the crime statistics that African Americans commit over 50% of the violent crimes in this country, only make up 13% of the population. You can get a skewed view of African American people. It's not like it's just completely bizarre that I think that happens. I think that it's a lot that go into this. I can agree with you on that. That if somebody looks at you and they say, because you're black, you must be a thug. That's wrong. That's racist. But there's a difference. Like, some people may be like, he's a black man, he must be doing a crime. Or some people may be like, this is an all-white community, there's no black people that live here, there's a black man parked out front of a business, it looks suspicious to them because they're not used to seeing that in their community. And because you are a race that's outside of the norm of that community, somebody may perceive that you're some type of thug. And I'm not saying that that's completely right, because they obviously were wrong. But I'm saying that may be more of the issue than it is that just because you're black. It could be like, well, because somebody robbed that store last week that was sitting in front of the store before it opened up. Or somebody who was African American robbed that store last week. And now there's an African American sitting in front of the store today. And now they suspicious, thinking that it's going to get robbed again. Or maybe they don't even know what your race is. They can't see in the car. They don't know what your race is. The person parked in front of the door. I mean, who knows? I mean, that community could have had that same store broken into 6 times in the last month. And so officers are hyper vigilant. And so as soon as somebody call in, I mean, they jumping the gun on it. I mean, that's why I don't always jump to racism, because I had an incident that occurred. I got to get out here, man. I've been talking for a long time. I had an incident that occurred where there was a black guy. There's a black man who committed a crime, right? All we get is a description of a black male. I think it was like black male, shaved head or dreads. It was a distinct haircut. So it was like black male, dreadlocks, white shirt, blue jeans, that just like robbed somebody at gunpoint. So we had the helicopter up in the same area at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. There's a black male walking up the street with the same hair, same shirt, same jeans, walking up the sidewalk at 3 o'clock in the morning. And so, of course, he matches the description of the suspect to a T. We get out, pull him out at gunpoint, find out that it was not him. That had nothing to do with race. And everything to do with a person being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Really, you have no business walking at 3 o'clock in the morning in the area that was. But at the same time, you have a right to walk anywhere you want to. But that dude jumped to racism right away. Oh, y'all just did this because I'm black. You just did this because I'm black. And I was like, look, bro, it ain't got nothing to do with your race, bro. The description of the man we looking for in this same area that just committed a crime with a weapon is a black male with your same haircut with a white shirt and jeans. I mean, how many black people could that be in the community that was? It's not even a lot of black people in the area. So he jumped straight to racism, and it's like, dude, that's not the case, man. Like, it's not racism. But could it have been in another situation? Yes. And I'm going to say this before I get out, and I'm going to get out here. I honestly believe in my heart, and based on my experience and exposure to officers all over the country, that police officers care more about height and weight than they do your race. Only reason that the police officers even need to know your race is so that we kind of know what we're looking for if we're looking for a suspect or a victim. Like, you can't just say there's a 20-year-old male wearing a green shirt that's missing. it's like, well, is he black, white, green, orange? I mean, like, we got to know more than just the fact that he's 20-year-olds wearing a green shirt. There may be 40, 20-year-olds wearing green shirts. We need to know the person's race. Other than that, I mean, we really don't care about race because it means nothing. It's like, what does a person's race really have to do with what they're doing? And this is the racist thing that I see that people do. They go, oh, white people are scared. White officers are afraid of black men. Like, that's so, like, hypocritical and racist, because what you're saying is that officers only get exposed to bad black people. Because in reality, the reason why officers aren't afraid of black people in particular is because they deal with all black people. And all black people aren't thugs. They deal with black people who are professionals. They deal with black people who are college age. They deal with black people who are entrepreneurs. They deal with black people who are just middle class people. They deal with black people who are criminals. They deal with black people who are repeat offenders, black people who are sex offenders, black people who have done time and got out and doing the right thing, black people who are law enforcement. Like, these communities are filled with a plethora of different types of black people, and officers get exposed to all those different types of black people. So there's no reason for them to see a black person and be like, oh my God, he's a thug. Because they deal with multiple different black people. You don't know which one you're dealing with. That's the same thing that we think about every race in the country. There's good white people, there's bad white people. There's good black people, bad black people. There's good Hispanics, bad. Good Asians, bad. I mean, you don't know. You have no idea. And you can't really predict a person's action based on their race. If you could, then we all would be racist. But you really can't, man. You can't even base it on sex either, because I've had women go harder against police than some men have. But anyway, 46 minutes is enough talking. I appreciate y'all's engagement, man. This is a really good thing, man. Maybe I'll do this more often. Have you lived in a mostly white city prior to the incident and the city were like that? I got stopped by police every time I went there. They gave me my first ticket in life, $90, 3 miles over the limit. I don't know, man. They could be very well racist, or they could really be harassing everybody that come to the city. You know what I'm saying? Everybody. They give it everybody tickets. Or they could be a racist city that don't want black people nowhere near the city, so they harass them so they don't come around. That could be also the case as well. I'm gonna tell you this. I lived in an all black community. I've lived in white communities. I lived in mixed communities. And I remember in Texas, there were cities that people said black people don't go to. White Settlement was one of them. Some of these all white communities, they like, don't go over there. You gonna get a ticket for nothing. But then what happens is that the misconception is that if you weren't doing nothing, you wouldn't get a ticket. If you go 3 over the limit, technically they can give you a ticket. It's unfair if they're not doing that to everybody. But at the end of the day, did you go 3 over the limit? You gave them a reason to act out their behaviors that they can actually cover up. Because technically by the letter of the law, you go any mile per hour over the speed limit is speeding. So you kind of gave them a reason to do it, even though it's wrong. But my whole thing is if they pull you over for absolutely nothing. I mean, anyway, gross point, later in life, a judge told me I should have fought it. Yeah, I mean, bro, I would fight that. Because this is the thing. There's a level of reasonableness. Police officers can do certain things, and then there's certain things that judges don't find to be reasonable. Just because you arrest a person don't mean they're convicted. Just because you cite a person don't mean that you can establish the burden of proof in court. I don't ever really cite people for less than 5 over the speed limit. Like, if you go, I mean, not saying that I wouldn't. If I need to, I will. I can if I wanted to, but typically I give people a cushion. Like 5 over the speed limit is like, okay, you going 5 over the speed limit, okay. Unless it's something really major, like unless you just flying past me or something and you almost get into a wreck because you're speeding, I really don't really care to bother with that. In certain situations, I may want to stop you for 3 over, but it doesn't matter about the person. It matters really the circumstances. And I have the right to use discretion. I can say, well, this is a warning, or I'm not going to pull that person over for going 5 over the speed limit when every single person on the road is going 5 over the speed limit. Now this person's going 10, everybody going 5, I'm going to get the 10. And sometimes I'm too busy. I can't even go pull the traffic on a person. I've got to go to a call. So I think in all actuality, it really depends, man. And I think that if you feel like an officer did something that they shouldn't do, if you feel like an officer did something they shouldn't do, you need to fight it in court, period. I know officers that lose cases. I ain't gonna say all the time, but I've heard situations where officers have lost cases in civil court because they couldn't really prove. Because in civil court, you only have the preponderance of evidence. It's like 51 to 59 or whatever. You just have to prove 1% more than half that your story is legitimate and you win. You know, I haven't lost a case. I mean, I lost one case in court because I didn't establish the jurisdiction. I didn't verbally say it was in the city limits of so-and-so. So I lost one that way. But, oh, crap, I got to go. I'm sitting there talking too long. I got to go get a massage. All right, man. I'll see y'all later. Peace.